Welcome to Caregiver SOS On Air, presented by the WellMed Charitable Foundation, with nationally known gerontologist Carol Zernail and award-winning veteran broadcaster Ron Aaron. This program provides health, wellness, and other information for caregivers who are vital to the health and well-being of so many people across our country. And now, here are your hosts, Ron Aaron and Carol Zernail.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Caregiver SOS On Air. I'm Ron Aaron, the award-winning Caregiver SOS On Air, available wherever you get your podcast. We're also on the radio in several cities in Texas and Florida as well. We've got a great topic today because there are so many people in this boat, caregiving for those living with dementia. And Carol Zernail, you know a little bit about that. Carol is a nationally known gerontologist, has a master's degree in social gerontology, and we're delighted to have you here.
Well, thank you very much. Dementia is a special topic, and I have to say that the services that we provide at Caregiver SOS, we do find that probably about 70% of the caregivers that we serve are dealing with dementia or have a loved one that has some sort of Alzheimer's-related dementia.
Well, as we introduce Debbie Mammel, I read about her in the San Antonio Express News and said to our wonderful producer, Sharice Pendleton, we need to talk to Debbie. And so Sharice delivered. Debbie's the proud co-founder of Caring Solutions, a home health company she began with her sister in 2010. Sister Karen and Debbie, after caring for their mother who passed away from pancreatic cancer, turned their experience into a career and to make each day count for the elderly and their families. Debbie's career began in the home. She's the mother of 6 children, all of whom are homeschooled. And as a certified dementia coach, Debbie spearheaded Caring Solutions' mission to be leader in the dementia care field in San Antonio. She teaches weekly workshops for caregivers, families, and others. And what she has learned and what she does is applicable to folks no matter where you are living. And Debbie, thanks for joining us on Caregiver SOS On Air.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
So you and your sister provided care for your mom dealing with pancreatic cancer, which is an awful form of cancer. What led you from that into dementia?
Yeah, good question. So in that journey, I think what we discovered is that feeling, that intrusion of somebody's going to come in our house now, because we realized we needed some extra help caring for our mom. And it was not a comfortable feeling. But we also didn't know what we didn't know. And so once we opened the doors and hospice did come in and help, we realized, wow, we couldn't have done it without them. And so fast forward, after mom passed away, I ended up being a caregiver for a friend of mine who had brain cancer. And in that experience, not dementia, but nevertheless cognitive issues, I learned with my sweet friend how to get in her world, play the word game, because of her brain challenges, she couldn't always find a complete sentence. And, I learned some things experientially. But about that same time, my sister was investigating, hey, wait, there's a business out there where you hire caregivers and you help people. And when she got together with me and talked about running this business together, I was like, absolutely, yes. So we started, but I want to share a little bit about, the dementia world doesn't hit you during certain seasons in life. Like when I was raising my children, I would never have experienced it, was never around people, never read books about it. I just didn't experience it. So when we started the business, opened the doors, and we started getting calls and we met with these families, I was bombarded with about how many people were dealing with some kind of dementia. So I was like, wow, I can't help people unless I know what that is. So I actually just started my journey with this, Googling what is dementia. And in that, I found, oh my goodness, the challenges, the sadness. There is no cure. And, um, you know, there is, and experientially, again, as we began to get more and more clients, Lewy body dementia, Alzheimer's, frontal lobe dementia, I was like, okay, there's no cure. How do you help somebody who refuses to get in the shower? But yet that's on our ADL. We're supposed to accomplish this today.
That's activities
And
of daily living.
yes, thank you. Yeah. I mean, as caregivers, we say, okay, here's the care plan. We need to go in, we make a meal and do that. But I learned so much over the 15 years of doing this. And um, yeah, I'll give you one little story that really kind of threw me into, wait a minute, these caregivers need training because um, when somebody feels threatened, their behavior can accelerate. And to the outside world, it looks like, oh, they're being combative, they're being mean, or they're. But as I looked into their world, I was like, no, most of it's driven by an emotion of fear or anger. You know, it takes a certain kind of person to get in their world, figure it out, help cultivate that environment. Okay, I feel safe. Okay, you're not bossing me around. You know, so many little things that I began to go, oh, yeah, because the 5 caregivers that got chased out of this one lady's house, there's 2 that were successful.
What made
So
them
there had to be
successful?
there. Say again?
What made them successful?
Okay, well, that's what I learned. It's approach. Well, there is some secret things inside. I think there are some people that really struggle working with brain failure, and maybe they're better helping somebody without any dementia. That's okay. Because what you have to be willing to do, it's a lot of brain work in your own brain, trying to figure out every behavior is a communication, but it's up to me to figure it out, right? So these 2 girls that were successful, for one, they just had a respect for this person. It's not their fault. Those foul words that were coming out of this lady's mouth seemed like, oh my gosh, why are you being so mean to me? I'm just trying to help. But really, they needed to understand it's just her disease, and you figure it out. So this is what I do. This is what we like to pair our caregivers that are really equipped to be able to do this with our dementia clients.
Stay with us just a minute. We want to let folks know who may have just joined us. You're listening to the award-winning Caregiver SOS on air. I'm Ron Aaron. Debbie Mammel is our guest today, and she's the co-founder of Caring Solutions in San Antonio. She also offers workshops for caregivers. Carol Zernail, our co-host, is here as well. I'm Ron Aaron. So, Debbie, as you talk about training caregivers, when people become a caregiver, very often it's out of nowhere. You get the call from the ICU, boom, you're a caregiver. What is it you try to teach folks who are on that journey?
Okay. So you mean a family member helping somebody, maybe their mom that just
Yes.
recently,
Working with
okay.
someone with dementia.
Very good question. I would say a good place to begin is understand what dementia is, because really that knowledge of whether it's stroke induced, maybe it's like personally that I experienced with family member. It's slow, but little things are showing up. Learn about it. Knowledge is always a wonderful foundation for anything that you do. Because really, I don't know how many caregivers come into our company thinking, I don't know if this person has dementia, maybe they have Alzheimer's, but automatically I know that there's things to learn, because dementia is an umbrella term for Alzheimer's or Lewy body or all these things. So anyway, knowledge is good. And then you're going to have to be patient with I feel like there's some foundational things that, and we teach them, they're kind of like rules. Don't argue. You have to try not to use logic. You have to change in order to meet where they are. Now, if you're a family member, it's a long journey. It can be decades of going through these changes with them. And I am going to say, because it's extra, there's an extra load on your back when you're a family member caring for someone, because you've got an emotional bucket on you, right? You've got to take that emotional bucket off, because with all the work you have to do mentally and physically helping your loved one with dementia, you better take care of yourself. You won't be able to hold that load. But that's what I would say to them. Get knowledge of what dementia is. There are simple little things that instead of beating your head up against the wall, you went, oh my gosh, somebody told me to try this, and I did.
Like what?
Like, say, like, there are certain Lewy body, let's say they're hallucinating. Can you see those people over there? No, there's no people over there. Well, I see people over there. Well, I'm telling you, there's no people over there. And you just get in this cycle. But it's okay to get in their world. Are they scary people? No, they're just playing. Oh, good. And move on. I would say to your family member, I mean, the things that you're really struggling with and you feel like you can't connect, take a breath. Go, there's beautiful resources out there. Lots of people now wanting to help. Find these tips because they really make a difference.
All right, hold that thought. We're going to come right back to you. We're talking with Debbie Mammel, Caring Solutions, a company she and her sister founded. We're talking about providing care for those living with dementia. Carol Zernail, our co-host, is here. I'm Ron Aaron. You're listening to the award-winning Caregiver SOS on air.
Well, thank you so much for listening to Caregiver SOS on air. We're delighted to have you with us. We come to you every week with a discussion of an issue, a problem, some accomplishments involved in caregiving with more than 60 million caregivers across this country, but most thinking they are the Lone Rangers. We try to bring you the latest information and help that can make that job easier and more manageable. Caregiver SOS on air takes a look at trends across this country. We provide tips on how to be a better caregiver and, most importantly, where you can go for help. On Caregiver SOS on air, we try to give you what you need to make that caregiving manageable and to provide you with the help that can make your life easier. I'm Ron Aaron. Carol Zernail and I are delighted to co-host this program, and we're thrilled you've joined us on the award-winning Caregiver SOS on Air podcasts available everywhere, brought to you by WellMed Charitable Foundation.
Hello, friend. Hello, friend. Really good to see you once again. Hello, friend. Hello, friend. Really good to see you once again.
We're so pleased you are with us today on the award-winning Caregiver SOS on air. Our podcast available wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm Ron Aaron, delighted to have you with us as we talk about caring for those living with dementia. Debbie Mammel is our special guest. She's co-founder of Caring Solutions. She and her sister Karen founded the company. Carol Zernail, our co-host, is here. And Carol, let me pass the ball to you.
Well, I hope that the caregivers who are listening are going to go to the podcast and play it again, Debbie, because you've got some real gems of advice. I've heard you talk about flexibility, right? That, you can go with them, go into their world. And a lot of people don't understand that problem behaviors, that acting out is a form of communication, and that they're trying to tell you something. I know our listeners have heard me say the story a million times. My mother-in-law, who had Alzheimer's, who we came in and she had bought all of these toys and diapers and everything for babies. And we said, what's going on? She said, I'm going to have 61 babies. And we're like, you're not going to have 61 babies. This is years and years ago. She had gallstones. And she was trying to tell us that she felt something. And to her, it must have been pretty bad because it was 61 babies. That
my goodness.
That tells you the pain level,
Totally.
and so that and also that lifting that burden off. So I'm just, want to say that I think this is worth it. You haven't even finished yet, and it's already worth a re-listen.
Oh, thank you very much, Carol. And about your story, they're always right. There's always a reason. I think when you start the journey, it's just pat yourself on the back and go, I'm going to figure it out. Whatever it takes, I'm going to figure it out because they need me to do that. And you give yourself patience to do that. But, because this is always changing, right? I think you have to embrace that philosophy of I'm going to go with the flow because what worked yesterday may not work today, but that confidence, I'll figure it out. And that's, it's challenging, but it's also very rewarding when you find out and you find that, oh gosh, they finally heard me.
There's always something new to learn. I sent Carol an article today I found in the New York Times about a new form of dementia called late, Late. And it's one that, Carol, you surprised me when I said, have you heard of this? And your answer was no.
No, actually, I haven't, and I'm going to research it further. And there's probably some folks out there that may have heard of it. Let's ask Debbie, have you heard of late dementia?
I have not at all, but I do know there's over 100 different kinds, and I'm sure it's always changing and there's mixed. And so we kind of focus on the four main types of dementia. But even with that, Carol, you can have 10 people with Lewy body dementia, and they're all going to be different. As humans, we're unique and only one, right? And so you put brain failure on top of that. You're just going to have to get in. You have to get to know who I am. And I'm going to have different triggers than you with you if you have Lewy bodies. So what I like to tell our caregivers is search for those triggers. If you find things that upset people, get rid of them, or danger, whatever.
What would be an example of a trigger?
A trigger, it could be something like a mirror. It could be a picture on the wall. It could be a color. I mean, there's so many, Bobby. It could be a song. I heard on a caregiver that came to us today said she got punched in the mouth by a man because her voice was too loud. And I was like, okay, well, he was in the military. He didn't like loud voices. So you better have a soft voice or do something. But instead, also, you're looking for the positive things. What can you do to cultivate a safe, calm, and routine? Routine's pretty important for them. But to find, even when those things are set up, you have to be ready for the days that, what's going on? And figure it out.
Now, one of the common issues that a lot of families face with a loved one with dementia is bedtime and showering, which becomes a real conflict. What kind of advice do you give folks?
Well, showers, I'm going to say, probably number one battle. I think if you have the magical way to make it feel like it's their idea, not like, I want you to take a shower because we're going, I want you to take a shower because you smell. It takes a finesse. It takes a special, and it can be little things you got to find out. Maybe it's the right time of the day, wrong time of the day. So if you have patience for all of that, and maybe we push too many showers on them, so what's healthy and what's safe? Bedtime, that one's a hard one. I mean, are you talking about people that are up and down during the night or just not wanting to get to bed?
All of the above. Now, your experience raising 6 kids and homeschooling them has given you incredible knowledge on how to juggle all those issues.
Yes, I really think it gave me, just as a child, you don't talk to them, you don't reason with them as an adult. And I had those 6 and 8 years. I was around kids a long time. And you understand that. You don't expect their little brains to come in our world and teach them things they can't do. You have to know if the dementia progresses and they no longer know what shampoo is versus lotion. You don't try to teach them. You're just there to help them. You take over when you have to. But it's a step by step, day by day process.
But I also heard you talking about allowing them some choice, right?
Yes, yes.
Sometimes maybe we are thinking do they really need that many showers? We don't want their skin to break down, but sometimes we set expectations that are kind of unrealistic.
That's
A lot of
right.
people without dementia don't like to shower every day for sure.
That's right. And Carol, going back to being a mom, I learned to pick my battles. If they really wanted to go outside without a coat, I was like, okay, was that big deal? So, how many showers do they really have to have? And is it okay that they have odd clothes on? You have to discern what things are really worth, trying to, the main thing is keeping them safe. So if you have that always guiding you, I think it's pretty good. But I would say, if I can say back to the family caring for one, you're grieving. I personally have experienced a loved one with dementia, and it hits you different times. Now, sometimes our caregivers that are with clients for 10 years, we've had that experience. And even though they're professionals, it's an emotional toll too. So I would say to that, but you can't show that to your loved one with dementia. They don't understand it. So the frustration and all the different ways that you grieve, it's okay. That's what I want to say to y'all.
Now, how
It's
do you
okay.
find and train folks who are caregivers in your company? Where do you find people?
Well, we have a wonderful recruiter, and she does the interviews, brings them in. But during our orientation, there's a team of us, and I have 5 questions that I ask that assess their skills, and I give them scenarios. And I'll role play with them and throw things at them and see how they respond. So we do an all-day orientation process to train, and I will actually say, no, let's not put this caregiver with the dementia client. I think they'll be better over here. So that's what we believe. There is a skill set. There is a certain, there are lots of things you can learn. I never stopped learning. Doing this for so long, I learned from the other people that come in and tell me stories. Yeah.
Well, what is it you look for in caregivers who will work with dementia patients? What are those 5 questions? I need those.
Okay. Well, this is the one I don't know where it comes from. It's in here. It's just they really do honor them. They really have a compassion. You have to really want to do this. It's pretty exhausting. You have to have a satisfaction of making a difference, making an impact in their world. If you find it too much of it works beautifully because they want to give this way, and the client and the person needs it, and so they really give to each other.
It's kind of a calling. It's really, for those that do it the best. Yeah,
Yes.
it really is a calling.
It is a calling. And then, you can learn certain things. And this is what I told my sister before I really started these training classes. I said, Karen, those 5 caregivers that got chased out of this lady's house, literally with her cane, and had to get off her porch or she was going to call the police, they didn't feel good about that. But they really didn't have the tools, the experience, and maybe they didn't want to. So We have to put it all together for them.
I'm going to have to stop you right there, Debbie Mammel. If you want to learn more about Caring Solutions, go to their website, caringsolutionssa.com. For Carol Zernail, I'm Ron Aaron. Thank you for joining us today and listening to Debbie's great stories on the award-winning Caregiver SOS On Air.
The executive producer for Caregiver SOS On Air is Daniel Calderon. The producer is Cherise Pendleton. And the associate producer is Catherine Oglesby. We'll see you next week on Caregiver SOS On Air.
You've been listening to Caregiver SOS On Air, an exclusive presentation of the WellMed Charitable Foundation. We welcome emails with suggestions and comments on this program at radio@wellmed.net. Join co-hosts Carol Zernail and Ron Aaron next week for more on caregiving, improving the health and well-being of caregivers and their care recipients everywhere. For more on caregiving and podcasts of our programs, visit caregiversos.org.